Hello, I'm Evelyn Linwood. Welcome back to my channel. This is actually my second time filming this because I accidentally muted my mic. Oops. Okay, so today's writing vlog will be a little bit more positive than the last few have been. A lot more positive. I had writer's block. I'm definitely through it. First, I will update you on where I am with my projects, then kind of what's the plan moving forward. Okay. So my projects, I have 3 on the go. Project Gold, which is the sequel to Showing Silver. And I do believe I had shared that I had a third point of view bouncing around my mind. I don't want to share too much about that one because it is kind of the more spoily kind of point of view. It is Kira's aunt, and basically, so she's a professor, so she has kind of a wider view of what's going on. Yeah, but I'm pretty excited about that one. I've been kind of wanting to bring that character into the book more. And I was going to do it solely through Kira's, but I think it'll be a lot stronger narrative with all 3 of them. And then I have a couple scenes planned for her, kind of figuring out her character arc and everything that's going on there. I'm excited to write that. So Project Gold has moved from painful to exciting. When I look, I keep gesturing over here. There's a Kanban board still up. Yeah, I'm not going to move this because and I'm not going to move that because it'll fall over. Yeah, so I'm excited for that. It has a new color on it. I chose, kind of a yellowy color for the ant. It's a little bit green, but it's not showing up very well on camera. It's like a fluorescent kind of yellow. Anyway, that matters to me. It probably doesn't matter to you. Then I have Project King still going. There's been a lot of ideas bouncing on in my head in the background. I'm still on chapter 14 of 37, but I do think I've made progress. Editing isn't always a straight line. So essentially, months and months, maybe even a year ago, I had gone through and read the 3rd draft, and I had too many points of view. I noticed that I was using the points of view to kind of be a little lazier with my storytelling, to bring in information instead of being clever about how the character might know it. So I did limit it to 3, and basically when I set myself up to edit for chapter 4, what I essentially did was organize the previous draft into scenes and insert blank pages where I thought new scenes needed to be. Delete scenes where I didn't think they needed to be. I say delete, but I still have the full draft 3. I just made a new document for draft 4, a new Scrivener document. So I have in my Scrivener binder, which is the folder thing off to the left, I have all my chapters lined up with the scenes that need to be in it. Some of the scenes have a sub-document that's the old version, and I'm going to rewrite it or write it from a different character's perspective or bring in just a little bit of information in that. I have notes on those. But the mistake that I made when I first did that, I've definitely learned a lot since then. Which sounds crazy because it really wasn't that long ago, but I've learned a lot about multiple point of view storytelling. So I was writing with a Save the Cat beat sheet, and I was convinced each character needs their own, which I still agree with, but other people's point of view scenes can cover beats for those characters. Even in the example in the Save the Cat book, other points of view cover that beat. And, Save the Cat is not really prescriptive, it's descriptive. So the whole point is this is what stories look like. It's not right to this beat sheet. It's, oh, hey, if something's gone wrong, you can use this to analyze your story and kind of figure out what. So yeah, essentially, I planned for way more scenes than I need. And I figured that out. I'm already at 111,000 words. And there's so much that I had planned to add in. And I'm still going to add some of it, particularly Elmira, who is a princess in the new version. She's going to travel somewhere, and like that whole arc is not written. And it brings in some characters that will be important later. So I do want to have that arc, that little trip. So I have to write that, and it'll be new words in draft 4. But I think a lot of the scenes are just not necessary to add. Like draft 3 was functional, it just wasn't quite what I wanted. So yeah, a lot of the scenes that are on my Kanban to add, I will not be adding. So I think I've been looking at this book that's already huge and stressing about how much I have to add to it. And it's like, every time I get to a scene that I told myself I need to add, I'm going to really question, does this need to be added in? I'm not going to go through and remake the whole plan because I do think like the structure is there in my current plan. It's just some scenes I'm thinking I need to add, I really don't. So yeah, so that mental shift has made looking at this giant, I am going to get it down. This is Project Gold. Ignore that. Or, yeah, we're talking about Project King right now. So I have all of these scenes to either edit or draft, and a shocking number of them are drafting. But I think actually the majority of the ones that I had planned to draft, I do not need to. Okay, so that's where I am with Project King. And then I have Project Moon on the go. And Project Moon, I don't believe that I shared this before. I did tell you guys that I had lost a whole bunch of words. It was actually 50,000 words because I did that one for a nano challenge. I think it was 2021. I didn't have a completed draft because 50,000 words isn't really a completed draft for most people. Yeah, but I wrote that the month my grandma died. And I won Nano that year. And the reason that I won was because I was pouring my broken heart onto the page. I was really close to my grandma. I lived with her for a while as an adult because we were trying to keep her out of the nursing home. So I lived with her sort of as a companion, sort of as a caretaker. So I got really close to her that year. I mean, we always were close, but it was special. I wouldn't trade it for anything, but it did make her death hit me a lot harder than I think the average grandparent death hits a granddaughter. Anyway, like she was my best friend. So this was a few years ago. I did not expect that. Anyway, the draft itself, I was processing my grief, and it was a lot darker than I typically write. Like I had killed off the main character's brother in a very graphic, gruesome injury. And it didn't even fit the story that well. I wanted to write about a grieving person, so that's what I did. And I cried while I did it. And it did help me, but it didn't really serve the story. So this draft I lost just to a corrupted file. I don't know what happened. It just sat in my computer for 4 years with no backup. Or 3 years, however long it's been. And I lost the file And then I, mourned the lost file. I wanted to reread it. I thought it might, I don't know why. But I've revived Project Moon. At its core, it is a story about a monster hunter in a world of monsters, which includes like were creatures and fae and various other things. And it's like kind of a fantasy setting with like dwarves and elves too, but it's so it's about a monster hunter who, in the process of his monster hunting work and in the process of getting revenge on the were that killed his parents, he gets bitten. And this is like before the story starts, so I'm not giving spoilers. This is his backstory. He gets bitten, and essentially the story is him kind of coming to terms with that, coming to terms with what he's done as a hunter. Because is he a monster? What does it mean to be human? All these kind of things. And it is really at its core, it's a story about the value of human life. The value of life, the value of what makes life valuable, that kind of thing. So he kind of travels around as a retired hunter, getting entangled in things. So that is kind of a fun story for me. It is a special story for me. When I do publish it, I will probably dedicate it to my grandma. She did like that pitch. Which is saying something because she didn't read fantasy. She read cozy mystery and sweet romance. So Project Moon, I have written something that I think would be a prologue, which is very strange for me because the last prologue I wrote, I was in high school and I cut it because I'm not a fan of prologues as a general rule. But I actually think this one might work. I have kind of a workshop thing coming up with some writer buddies, so I'm going to ask them to read it and kind of tell me what they think. If it should be a prologue, if it should be a flashback later in the story. Should I just start the story with what I'm calling chapter 1 now? But I'm excited. I'm definitely back in drafting mode, which I haven't been in a really long time. Like I thought I was, but I was not. Now I have that kind of free-feeling drafting mode, which honestly probably means Project King will take a backseat for a while, and I'm fine with that. I did mention on this channel that I had been using Pacemaker recently, and I do think it helped me out of my funk, but on the other end of it, I definitely was not keeping up with my pacemaker plans. So I deleted them. And I made new ones today, this morning. I have one that I'm calling Writing Muscle Restoration. And that one is 30,000 words. That used to be kind of my quote-unquote easy pace. Like if I wasn't doing a writing challenge, I would write 30,000 words in a month. That's just my average drafting pace. My natural pace, so to speak. Not easy pace, because, you do have to push yourself to still sit down and write. But if I'm not aiming for a word count, 30,000 words is about what I get. But that's not what I'm getting right now. Yes, I'm through my writer's block. Yes, I'm out of that funk. But my writing muscle is a little bit atrophied. So that's what I'm doing. The goal with that one, I don't write on Sundays because it feels like work now that it's my job. And I will only write on Saturdays if I feel like it. That's not a work day. That's just if I'm feeling very inspired or I just want to finish up a scene or something, I'll work on a Saturday. But my daily goal for this, September, today, 24th, through the end of October, the 31st, will be on weekdays 1,072 words. The last day has a little less, but that's just because the way Pacemaker does math. And then as for the other plan, I'm calling it November Noveling, and the plan is the same with no work on Sundays, and Saturdays are optional. And then I had to take off 2 days at the end for Thanksgiving and kind of just being busy. But the goal is 2,778 words per day, which sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. For me, that's a lot, but it's also, I've done it before and I know I can do it again. Right now I couldn't, but if I stick to my first plan, it will set me up for success for the second plan. And I am, so 3 writing groups I'm in. 1 is an in-person group, 2 are just on Discord, are all doing like November noveling events that look an awful lot like Nano, but don't call it that. So, I don't know, newer writers might not have done Nano, but it was the big 50,000 word challenge in November. But I am being a rebel. I'm not doing it all on one project. I am splitting those words for both of my writing plans between Project Gold and Project Moon. And the only other thing that I've done is I've been doing quarter 4 planning. I used to use HB90, but I'm not really feeling that right now. But the one thing I am taking from that is knowing the number of days that I actually have to work with. Because I don't have 90 days. I have math. I have 53 because of 2 holidays and a trip. So, and that I don't do Sundays. So I've planned accordingly. I have 3 goals. 1 is for writing, 1 is for health, 1 is for financial. So I've just kind of split each down into 3 categories. For writing, it's good, better, best. For health, it's physical, mental, spiritual. For financial, it's path 1, path 2, path 3. I'm not going to share health or financial details, but for writing, the overarching goal is to continue working on and make progress on projects intended for publication. Yes, that's vague, but I have the metrics for success. Good, better, best. Good, remain in drafting mode and make significant progress on Project Gold. No, I haven't defined significant progress, but that's kind of you'll know it when you see it. If I write a couple scenes, I'm not going to consider it significant progress. I need to really get in there. Better, stick to pacemaker plans / rebuild the writing muscle. This would set me up to finish it in the next couple months after that. Best, complete first draft of Project Gold. That is definitely what I want to have done. But again, not including these last few days of September. I guess there's half a week. There's not that many writing days. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping to do it. Originally, I really wanted to publish it the same time I did, the same time of year I did Showing Silver. That's not going to happen. I know I never announced that was my goal, but that was my goal. It's not any longer. I had the writing funk lasted all through the summer and yeah, half of September. So that's not going to happen, but I am hoping to get it at least before fall. So that is my new target. No promises. I'm not announcing a date. I'm just saying this will come out sometime in 2026. That's my hard deadline. Yeah. As a new author, I don't think I understood the kind of energy cost of actually publishing a book, because there's so much that goes into it that's not writing. And yeah. But I have made goals. I have gotten out of my funk. I'm really, really ready to tackle this. And then I don't know, I think I shared it. I got with my cover designer for Showing Silver, and I did the interiors, but she did basically the book cover, but without the words. So I did a lined notebook, and I have a dot grid version. Not sure if it's going to show up. Yep. So this paper, it does ghost a little, but I haven't had any bleed through with the pens I use, which are fairly inky. But I will link those in the description if you are interested in them. They're basically like book texture paper. It's the same paper because I just printed it through Amazon. So if you have Showing Silver, it's literally the same paper. It's cream, the same number of pages. I wanted kind of a notebook that fits on your bookshelf. And I will be making more kind of low content books like that moving forward, I think. I had some ideas for like reading journals, an annotator companion type thing. And that's a little bit just because I like the idea, and that's a little bit that financial thing I was talking about. We're fine, but yeah, the economy is not the best. Anyway, I will link those in the description. But I'm having fun with that, and that will be kind of like a side project that's ongoing to when I'm not writing. The other interesting thing about getting out of a writing funk before I go, I've been crocheting again. I've been crocheting a lot. I crocheted this little cow that I gave away. I've crocheted a couple of dog toys. I'm working on crocheting myself a scarf. Fall makes you want to crochet anyway. And then I'm knitting a scarf as well, which is not actually, I'm crocheting 2 scarves, but one is like, it started as a baby blanket and I kind of gave up that idea, but I don't want to waste it. So yeah, so that will be a light scarf, and then I have the heavier scarf. But I'm having fun. Feeling a lot more creative. I've actually wanted to play the piano recently, which it's been a long time since I wanted to do that. So I think it was not really just writer's block, it was creative block in general, and it's done. It's kaput. I'm done with it. So I'm feeling really good, feeling really happy. I would love to hear how you're doing. Like, how's your preparation for Q4 if you plan that way? Are you going to do some kind of writing challenge in November or this fall in general? I know there's quite a few kind of nano replacements out there. If you've got one that you love and that you're so on board with, please tell me about it, because I don't know all of them. You know, they're all small things cropping up. Yeah, so that we can find the best one and hop on board, or the best 18 and hop on board. Yeah, so thank you for watching. Sorry this was a little bit more rambly than it usually is. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe I always ramble. Thank you for watching. Do get in the comments below. Tell me about your writing. Tell me how it's going. And then I will see you for my next video.